morning, everybody. I see that loads of you online, either from a very wet Cape Town. I believe it is pouring there. They have a lovely word in Afrikaans. They say dit sous. Yeah, sous de daar by julle. Guys, it's wonderful to be back with you this Thursday at 11 o'clock for another Builders Masterclass. Guys, it's been up and down all over the place. My last few weeks have been highs and incredible lows. Some of you might have known that there was a terrible hailstorm in our valley. The hailstorm literally was 1 kilometer wide. We've kind of mapped it out, and it came up our valley. It missed places that I can see from my patio, except it didn't miss our garden. We've got a big event in a few weeks' time where I hope to see a lot of you folk. We're doing an open gardens event to raise funds for a very worthy charity called the Kloof Conservancy Trust, which make your sidewalks look beautiful. They put money into keeping the indigenous environment really top-notch, and also do feeding programs. So we were working our way towards this to the best of our ability, and of course we had the plan of action, but you know, all man's plans, it sounds funny, all man's plans are foiled by one big, almighty, destructive hailstorm. 25 minutes of pure anxiety, heart thumping, and the next day when we walked out there, it was unbelievable. I empathize to you guys who live in hail zones, who do receive it on an annual basis, because we don't. We have never, in the last 28 years that I've been living in this area, we've had two minor little ones, you know, like pink, 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 like nothing really gonna go wrong. And then golf balls came down. Yeah, golf balls. If I could have swung at every one of them, I would have, and knocked them into the park. There were just too many. So what are the lessons? Because I always say when something goes wrong in my life and maybe in one of my staff's life, I always ask them, what is the lesson and what is the message? Because there has to be a lesson in everything. I mean, the big man upstairs, he's got a lot planned for us. And I don't know where that hailstorm came from, but I was clearly a very, very naughty girl. But anyway. And what is the lesson? The lesson is that there's this thing called patience. And we got advice from my very, very good friend, Gerald Schofield, who's an absolute mentor to me. And of course, he was up here on a flash on the Sunday morning. And he said, whatever you do, don't do anything for 72 hours. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. I needed to take an extra pill that morning. Do not touch your garden for the next 72 hours. Let it settle. See what the destruction is. See what snapped. Because at that point, the leaves then that have snapped and the branches that have snapped, you'll be able to actually see them. They would have wilted and withered. Because then you start your cleanup. Also give plants the time just to acclimatize, because they've been thrashed. Bulb dahlias, beautiful bulb dahlias. First time I planted them in my top garden. Oh my word, guys. I'm going to be ordering dahlias till they come up my ears next year on the Builders online site, because we threw them in there. We literally just threw them in there because we had 1 or 2 packets. And I said, let's not let them go to waste. So we popped them in the perennial border. And I was blown away. These dahlias, as some people call them, were taller than my shoulder height, like insanely beautiful, huge, big, red dinner plate cactus flowers like this, insane against the purple backdrop of the salvias. But all is not lost. But yes, they were reduced to little sticks like this. But anyway, we pruned them, we fixed them up, I gave them mouth to mouth. I talked really, really nicely to them. I've talked a lot. I've talked a lot to the plants. Like, come on, guys, come on, dig deep. Excuse the pun. But come on, you can do it, please. But of course, there are a few practical remedies that you've also got to put in place. And this is what we've been doing, folks. And I have to tell you, the the difference that it has made, and we phoned a lot of people to get some advice, because obviously this was a phenomenon that I'd never experienced. And we spoke to these guys, the guys from EcoBuzz, and they supply huge amounts of bulk products into the agricultural market. So farmers who rely on their crops for their livelihood, not just for a pretty garden. Okay, just to think about that. It's hectares of potatoes, which is a tuber, by the way, but we're going to be talking about that just now. Hectares of potatoes, hectares of maize, which could get mowed down by one hailstorm. And they said to me, Tanya, we found this formula, this is what we recommend to our farmers, and this is what we're going to recommend to you. So obviously a lot of the plants were really torn. There were aloes, the big aloe ferox, the one that when you're driving on the highway, wherever you are, if you're in the Karoo, if you're in Joburg, if you're in KwaZulu-Natal, you see those beautiful aloes on the sides of the road. You know that, the candelabra aloe, that one, where the hailstones went straight through the leaves, like a shotgun, So obviously they were weeping, the plants were oozing, and when you've got, it's much like a cut. Like if we've got a cut and we don't clean it with a sanitizer and well, not a sanitizer, what is that thing called, Dettol or Savlon or whatever. If you don't clean it and put a bit of betadine on there, and if we don't look after it, it's going to go septic, because there's going to be a bacteria or a fungus that's going to get in there and make it really bad. So the first thing was to treat those plants, and we treated them with Disease Pro. Now, Disease Pro deals with bacterial with fungal infections, and this is a natural product. So it's from a fungus itself. It's a natural fungus that when you spray, all the spores are transmitted onto the plants, okay? You use it for powdery mildew, for downy mildew. So like the things that get onto your fuchsias, onto your hydrangeas, onto your pumpkins. What is powdery and downy mildew? It's that white stuff. It's ugly, it's that white stuff. And the plant just starts shriveling and shriveling and shriveling up. So we treated it with that, and we did a cocktail of Multi-Grow and Disease Pro, and we sprayed every 3 days. And we have been spraying every 3 days since the hailstorm. And the difference, Multi-Grow has nurtured the plants, given them the right nutrition to perk them up, give them a bit of extra depth that they can dig into and dig deep into. And of course, the Disease Pro is working and doing its job for any bacterial and fungal infections. And folks, I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm seeing beautiful new leaf growth. Of course, there is a huge amount of nitrogen now in the soil. I mean, like tons from the hail. Yeah, it came all the way from up there, full of nitrogen. So in terms of feeding, you don't really worry about the soil at this point because it's got enough nitrogen in it. But what you want to do is perk up the leaves, because without good leaves, because all the leaves were stripped, the plants can't photosynthesize. Okay, does that make sense? So this is a lesson that I learned. It was a very hard gardening lesson. It really was. Probably the hardest I've had to learn my entire life. A really hard one to swallow. But there always is a silver lining somewhere. And we just have to find it. And what I've learned is I've learned about this combination. I have learned that plants are resilient, actually a bit more resilient than me, because I was just crying. And they do perk up. But folks, today we're going to bulbs. That was my story, and I hope that you have got some pointers from it. Let's see who's online, and let's say hello to you guys. Elizabeth, would Disease Pro be used on tomatoes? Yes, and the good thing that I failed to tell you, Elizabeth, is that Disease Pro, because it's a natural fungus, you can spray it's the thing that we use in our household. It's spray today, eat today. So you can spray that product because it's a natural fungus, all right? It's not a chemical. So it's not a poison. Because this natural fungus that grows on the leaf eats the powdery mildew for breakfast. Okay, so you can spray it on your tomatoes and still pick that tomato that minute after you've sprayed and eat it, and you won't grow another ear. And you won't even smell anything. It's completely 129% safe for dogs, cats, mother-in-laws, unfortunately, even husbands and family members. So yes, so it's very, very safe to use. Maureen, good morning, Maureen. Oh, did you also get whacked by the hail? Yeah, I know you in Hillcrest area. Lavelle, good morning. Oh, you glad to be watching this live for once? Yeah, this is live, baby. There ain't no cuts. Angela, good morning. Beg your pardon. I saw it on the Kloof Conservancy page. Yeah, come and visit. Come and visit. Louise Gates, good morning. Good morning. Hetty, wonderlijke reën. Ja, dit reën. I hope you all have got your JoJo tanks up, that you've cleaned your gutters, you guys down in the Cape, that the gutters have been cleaned, the JoJo tanks are ready, and you are catching water. I honestly hope that you guys are. Elizabeth from a slightly windy Port Elizabeth. Impressive. Slightly windy. Okay. We desperately need some rain. Guys, I think it's coming. I think the rain is coming to you guys in PE, because have you seen what's happening down there? You know, down that side, there in the Cape. Let's see who else is online here this morning, guys. Janet, good morning. Good morning. Hallelujah. Amen. Good morning, Janet. It's good to see you tuned in. We're going to teach you all about bolla and all the other things. And a bolla is the Afrikaans word for a bulb. An onion is a bulb that we use in almost most of our dishes. That's why it's such a long crop. You know, if you're going to sow onion seeds, you've got to be patient. You've got to put it in a spot that's going to get lots of sun, and you've got to wait. But they taste different. It's like a tomato. It's like a tomato that you've grown. Once you have picked a tomato from your own plant in the garden, and guys, you don't need hectares. Come on, you don't need hectares. You need one pot, and you need 1 or 2 little tomato plants that you stake and you hold up, because when they get their fruit, they have these beautiful trusses. And when you pick and eat a tomato, you just got to rub it. It's different. It is so different. You will, in fact, if you've never had that before, you've got to try it, because now, certainly in the areas except the Western Cape, guys, the rest of the country that gets summer rainfall. So if you're in the summer rainfall area, in other words, we do not get rain in the winter, now's the time to try your tomato plants, because they really are easy to grow, disease-free during these cooler months. And just that smell, you'll never want to buy a tomato again. I promise you. Let's see who else is here. Penny Felipe, good morning, from Florida. Florida as in there. Highball. Really? Guys, my tech team here are looking. They're looking at me funny. Anyway, Kathy Talk, good morning. Felicity, is it safe for the bees? Yes, Felicity. Disease Pro is 100% safe for bees, butterflies, good wasps, ladybirds, 100% safe. Absolutely 100% safe. And that is what the miracle is really about this product. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see who else is here. Right. Tanya Visser, good morning. Good morning, Heidi. I'm sorry about the garden. Yeah. The next lessons are often the next season. True story. Carla, good morning. And Angela. Right, guys, let's get into it. We're talking about bulbs, bolla. Now, I know some of you are nervous, because here's the thing. You know, on these Pinterest feeds, and it's called a feed, isn't it? Yeah. On these Pinterest feeds and social media feeds, we get all of this inspiration, and a lot of it from over the ocean, from overseas. And we see these fields of bulbs. Holland, okay? The home of, and actually not the home. Well, it is kind of the home now, but it's not the birthplace. It's not the birthplace of this amazing bulb. Now, in fact, we picked this up at our local builders yesterday or the day before. We picked it up the day before at our local builders. It was like, we just zoned in, like mesmerized, beautiful tulips. I mean, it's got such romanticism attached to it. This is the beautiful tulip from Holland. And guys, we know that the tulip actually originated in, can you guess? Let's see if you can guess. I see another question there, but Carl, I'm going to get back to you on that. Where did the tulip originate? Come on, we're going to see. Call out to me when we've got somebody who's got the answer. So the tulip did not originate in Holland. However, they adopted it. And let me tell you, there was tulip mania. because this bulb was so sought after. In fact, people took their entire wealth and they traded in bulbs. Tulip mania went on in the 1800s for about 30, 40 years. People lost. Is there an answer?
Carla's got it.
Carla, let me see. Where's Carla? Carla? Wait, I haven't got it yet. Carla. Did you get it from the country that begins with a T? Carla, good job. Tulips originate in Turkey. Turkey. Are you talking nonsense? True story. They originate in Turkey. And I was honored one day when I was on one of my trips to actually go and look at the original fields and in Holland, where they had started the hybridization of tulips. And let me tell you, that original tulip, it was chacha. It was really ugly. It wasn't much to write home about. Honestly, I was like, you traded money over this terrible looking thing. But it was a phenomenon. And people traded tulip bulbs for large amounts of money. But now we just grow them because they are absolutely spectacular. Look at this one here. It's actually got flames. Look at that on the sides of its petals here. Tulips are very short-lived. However, let this not put you off against other bulbs, because there are bulbs that are better suited to our climate rather than the tulip. We can buy tulips in pots, like we bought this one at our local builders. You just simply take it. You can see here's the little guy. There we go. And you just pop it into one of these pot covers, okay? And it will grow. It will flower. And as it gets older, you're going to see this happening. Do you see that now? Here's the typical tulip shape that we all know, okay? That's the beautiful shape. See that there? And then the more it opens every day and closes, the wider the petals go. Do you see that? The wider they go. And eventually these little petals will buckle completely backwards, and that's after approximately a week, and then your tulip is done. Oh my goodness. So what do I do after that? Well, guys, this is what you do. You let this bulb die back. And I'm going to show you a typical example of this. This is a hyacinth bucket. No, this is a hyacinth with the most amazing fragrance. You know what hyacinths are, guy. Look at it here. That is the beautiful hyacinth. You get them in purple, you get them in pink, you get them in white, with the most heady fragrance. I mean, if you want fragrance, guys, this is insane. And hyacinths, you can see here, they've finished flowering, but we're doing nothing to it. We're not chopping it off right now. No. You leave it. You leave it and you let this die off. Okay, this must turn brown. So I know you don't want to look at it, but that's fine. Just like put it somewhere else, okay? Stop watering them. Stop watering them and let it start dying back. Because as that happens, as it starts dying back, all the energy is now going back into the bulb. Ah, okay. So it's like storing the energy? Yes. Because a bulb, technically, if we want to look at the horticultural word, is a storage organ. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, like our onions. It's a storage organ. And they store it in the scales that they make. And bulbs, just like the same as our bulbs, they're made of scales. So I want to show you exactly. So this is a hyacinth bulb. These are them here. So guys, what I want you to remember is when they finished flowering, let them die back all the way down. Once they've died back, okay, you can leave it in this pot. You don't have to worry about it. You don't water it. You leave it in this pot, in a spot in your garden. And then next season, next autumn, you might have to put a reminder on your telephone, you know, or a GPS location on the pot, because you might have lost it. But anyway, so next autumn, you then start watering, because as you add water, because that's all you need to add, just add water. As you add water, they come to life. Okay, but I want to show you this. Because people say, oh, bulbs are so difficult. They really are difficult. Mine just don't flower. No, I want to show you just how easy they are. So here's a beautiful hyacinth bulb. They're very easy to work with. That is the tip. That is our, and think about an onion. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a little green part. Yeah, okay, I get that. This part over here is called the neck. Okay, this part here is called the shoulder. All right, and you got to know this. And why? Because I'm going to show you in a minute what can go wrong. And this over here at the bottom is called the base plate. Okay, now around the base plate, if you feel, they're little nodules. Okay, those little nodules are where last year's roots were. Okay, now when you start watering, the roots are just going to start emerging through the base plate. But if I take this hyacinth bulb and I just do a cross section, look, can you see the layers? Look at that, they're the layers. Layer upon layer upon layer. And that is what stores all the energy. But I want to just cut into this guy a little bit more. Aha, there it is, there it is. So, if you get in here really close, do you see that in there? That there, that little thing there is actually the flower. That is the flower that is already formed in the bulb from last season. From last season, guys. It's sitting, it's been sitting and waiting. It waits for the temperatures to cool down, which is obviously happening right now. It waits for a bit of moisture. That's when you start watering. And hi caramba, the flower bulb, the flower bud is already in here. And what happens? It starts to grow. As simple as that. So it's pre-programmed. Guys, it's like our computers. They're so clever. They just do things. Yep. Bulbs are exactly the same. So fear not, because you can get it right, and you will get it right. And there's some bulbs, obviously, that do better than others. And I'm going to share with you some of the bulbs which I know do exceptionally well in South Africa that are stocked at your local builders. And I was on the online store this morning because there's certain colors that I wanted of an iris, and I didn't find them in store, but guys, online, there is a huge selection of bulbs. So whether you're wanting an iris, whether you're wanting a freesia, whether you're wanting an ixia, a tritonia, and you love those names, stop speaking foreign to me. No, just go online and you'll find them, and it's really easy. Okay, bulbs that do exceptionally well here. Look at this guy. Now, this is an indigenous bulb. This is called ornithogalum, okay? Ornithogalum. Some of you are going to recognize the flower. Yeah, you got it. It's called a chinkery chi. Yeah, chinkery chi. Oh, and why are they called chinkery chis? Why are they called that? Because when these flowers, which are almost paper-like, rub together in the wind, it's that's the noise, and that's why they're called chinkery chis. Now, these bulbs are very small. I mean, no. Look at them. Hi, near. Is it possible that I can get such a big flower out of such a little bulb? Absolutely. They're probably one of South Africa's best grown bulbs for cut flowers. I have some in my garden that have been in there for years and years and years amongst the agapanthus. When the agapanthus are not flowering in winter, yes, you've got it. What comes up? My ornithogalums, my beautiful chinkery chis. And they then start pushing out between my agapanthus, and I have amazing color. Remember, if all else fails, boys and girls, if all else fails, please look at the instructions on the packet. Now, Mason, I want you to come in really close on this because it tells you everything. It tells you how far apart they should be planted, how deep they should be planted, and it tells you the height that the bulb will reach in flower. Okay. So it's here. It's all here. Please do not just open them up. Open them up and throw away the packet, the covering, and then say, oh, well, now, I wonder how you do this. If all else fails, read the instructions, please. And they're there for a reason. Okay. Some of my ultimate favorite are these beautiful mixed irises. Now, in this is incredible value for money. You get 35 Dutch irises, 35 of these irises. Now, most of you will recognize these from cut flowers that you might receive as a gift. You'll see them in mixed bunches at your local stores. Guys, this is beautiful. Dutch irises will come up year and year and year on. Keep them in the garden, in the space, or in the container where they have been planted, and leave them. And I want to show you very, very quickly what happens. This, once you've put them in a spot, so say I've planted them in a container or they're in the ground, let me show you what I did this morning. So this is a polyanthus bulb. This has been in a container. It's going on its 3rd year now. So at the moment, there's just soil and a few of these little green things coming through, okay? So it went to sleep, naturally. It went to sleep in the pot. I dug out a bit this morning and look what's happened. So here's the original bulb. Can you see that? There's the original bulb. There is the base plate. There are the roots. But look what's happening. Ah, she's making babies. These little guys are called bulblets, okay? And that's how bulbs reproduce. So they make these little bulblets. If I have to break one off here, there it is. Look, a whole nunu little polyanthus bulb ready to flower, ready to grow. There's its shoot, there's its base plate, there's its shoulder, and there's its neck. Okay, so that's how bulbs reproduce. So when you leave them in the garden, and you know what I sometimes do, and it just helps, is I either take a little stick like this, a little colored stick or colored ice cream stick, stick it in the garden, okay, and this helps. This really, really helps to remember where you planted them, okay, because sometimes you're like, oh, I can't remember, and then you think you've got a bare patch, so you start digging up soil, and then you start digging up the bulbs. Okay, guys, I believe we've got some questions going on here, so let's get to the queue. Terence, can we leave bulbs in the soil until next season? Yes, but Terence, please get me one of those bulb pots, the water feature pots. Terence, I just want to warn you, though, if you have got molds, oh, caramba, I have to talk about it. I have to talk about molds because it is a reality, okay? In our one part of the garden, in the grass garden, it's full of molds. I think it's like Century City of molds. I don't know, the family and the family next door and the extended family moved in there. So if we're going to plant bulbs, we use these. Now, these are relatively new on the market. You can pick them up at your local builders, guys. And what it is, it's actually a pot to plant water plants in. So you can see it's got all these slats in it. And what you do is, you dig the hole, you bury the pot, and then you plant your bulbs inside the pot. So the little mole, she can't get there. She can't get in. Cannot get into your pots, and then you can very, very happily leave your pots there, leave the bulbs. As I said, they will make bulblets. They will make more babies for you, and next season, as the temperatures cool, so anytime from the middle of March onwards, middle of March, you can start watering, and up they come again. Now, these bulbs that I'm explaining to you now are generally known as late winter, early spring flowering bulbs. Okay, so you're going to plant them, and about 60 days later, they are going to start flowering. So that's the time period that we're looking at. Oh, Adrian, you answered the question. Are bulbs not mole attractions? Yeah, they are, because they're yummy. Because they're so yummy. They're full of that beautiful, because they're storage organs. Yes, remember? They've got layers and layers of good nutrition, because most of those layers is actually made up of carbohydrates and sugars. I mean, imagine, that's like having an instant shake on the go. So that mole sees a bulb, and it's like, I'm heading straight there. So plant them in those pots, and if you can't get hold of those pots, guys, just use an ordinary plastic pot. You know those little El Cheapo brownie or greeny ones. Bury those into the garden, and it does exactly the same job. Okay. Felicity wants to know, can we get, Felicity, you're going to hurt me. Can we get allium bulbs in South Africa? I see a lot of them in the gardens in the UK and on TV, and it's part of the onion family, and they're so beautiful. Thanks. I phoned Hideko for tulip bulbs, and they asked if they would flower next year, and they say no, they will only flower in one season. Correct. So, tulip bulbs, because we do not have enough. The only part of South Africa, okay, let me do it this way. The only part of South Africa where tulips will flower the next season is if you live in Belfast. True. The very clever guys from Hideko who grow all of these bulbs commercially for our enjoyment, the only place that they could get them to make bulblets, in other words, produce more so they could harvest them so we can buy them, is in Belfast, South Africa. Why? because the temperatures drop to below 10, below 15 degrees Celsius. Brrr, yes. And that's what tulips need. They need a very, very cold winter. A very cold winter in order for them to set bulblets. Remember, think about the UK. Think about Holland. They walk around in snow for 6 months of the year, for goodness sake. And then their spring is 3 weeks. Their spring and their summer. It hits 18 degrees and they are taking layers off, you know, and they're getting into the sun, the little geckos, to get some sunshine. That's the people. But you know what I mean, guys. So tulips, which is why I say to you, just buy them in a pot like this. They flower for one season. But the others that I've spoken about, flower will come up year upon year upon year. Alliums, your question was about an allium. An allium is beautiful. They get big heads like this, big purple heads and white heads. And yes, you see them in many gardening books overseas. They are sometimes available here. They were available last year, online only in South Africa. But please let me express to you once again, they will only flower once. They will only flower that once. But you know, then people say to me, well, should I then be planting them? Well, my thing is yes, absolutely. Because here's my take on it. We save up all year to go away on a holiday, okay? We save up. And we're going to Margate for the long weekend. That's our holiday. We're going to Margate, we're packing the bicycles, we're packing the kids, the surfboards, en hier gaat ons. Okay? And we save up for that the whole year. And we go and spend a beautiful week in Margate on the beach. When we come back, what do we have to remind ourselves of that money, time that we spent on that week? We have memories. We have beautiful memories on our phones. Experience them, touch them, feel them, enjoy them. And that's much like a bulb. You plant it, you buy, you save up for it, you plant it. Some of those which only flower once. You enjoy it while it's flowering. You get to enjoy it and work with it and see it growing and forming a bud and then flowering and looking amazing. And then it dies. Yeah, it's like the holiday. It's got to end, guys. Yeah, it ends. And we've got the memory. So, yeah, that's my take on it. But I'll leave that one up to you. Chantel asks, Tanya, how often do you water, especially in the winter? Chantel, it's a very good question. Bulbs you water as follows, and this is for all of them. Whether it's in a pot or whether it's in the ground. You water, and remember this is kind of a mantra, you water once a week and don't forget. Okay, you water once a week, a good deep watering. So it's not one of these. Okay? It's not one of these waterings. I'm going to show you here. Come with me, Mason. It's not one of these. No. It's a good deep watering. A deep watering. A good deep watering once a week. That's it. You don't need to stress. Okay, you can also get hold of some bulb food, which you basically just sprinkle around the top of the soil. Really easy to use. Sprinkle around the top of the soil, and all you do is water it in. Nice and easy. Erica, so in the Southern Cape with the winter rainfall, must I remove the summer bulbs from the garden? I feel overwhelmed in storing them. No. Erica, you can leave them there because they are used to those conditions. They will simply drain well. You're obviously not going to water them because they have now gone to sleep, and they will then come up again the following season. Don't worry about lifting them to store them. That is an option, okay? But if you can remember where you've planted them and you're not going to go and dig them up, then you just let them be, okay? And the next season, they'll come up again. Michelle wants to know, how do we look after the Amaryllis bulbs in the Josie zone? Easy, guys, whether you're in Josie, whether you're in the Western Cape, wherever you are, you're looking after them the same. Amaryllis are summer flowering bulbs, okay? So they flower near Christmas. Yeah, that's kind of like when you see them all around. They flower near Christmas, and folks, they've got it. That's a big bulb, hey? Amaryllis is a huge bulb. Now they're going to start dying back because of the coolness. The colder your temperatures get, the colder it gets, the less leaf mass they have. In fact, I got a question this week that somebody wrote in and said the leaves of the Amaryllis. Now let's pretend that this was an Amaryllis. Let's just pretend that it was one. They said the leaves of the Amaryllis at the base are going red And they were getting very stressed out about that. No, 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 don't worry about that. That is because of lower temperatures. Lower temperatures have a reaction and they cause the leaves to start going red. That's okay, it's going to now start dying back. My Amaryllis have probably got 2 or 3 leaves on them. They look miserable. So you just leave them, let it be, let it be. Starts dying back. Your bulb is then nice and snug for the winter. Okay, it's going to stay dormant until the temperatures start increasing. When the temperatures start increasing in late spring, boom, they come alive again. Give them some bulb food. Give them any food that you've got. If you've got some Kelpac, you can give them some of that. If you've got some Start Grow, you can give them some of that. Whatever plant food you've got, guys, especially liquids, it works incredibly well. Okay, so all it is, follow your instructions, dilute it into a watering can, and give them a good water. And you can do that as per the bottle that's recommended per specific product. Most of them are once every 10 to 14 days. Nice and easy. Okay, right. Let us show you over here. Now, let's move this darling tulip out the way. So what are our other options? Okay, we've got beautiful freesias. Freesias are indigenous. Fragrant, fragrant, fragrant. And if you pick these and put them in a vase, oh my word. And of course they come in all sorts of different colors. Now look at these. These are an anomaly. These are called anemones. Now anemones are a weird bulb, guys. They're weird. You like look at them and think, how is it even possible that you will grow? And that's because an anemone is completely different. Look at these little shriveled up things. They look like peanuts gone wrong. An anemone is actually a corm and not a bulb. But we put them all under the same kind of category. And they are very odd things. Which is the upside? Which is the right side? Which is the downside? Let me show you over here. They're very difficult. They normally, as they start drying, they dry that way. So not really flattened. So there's the tip, there's the base plate. But you know what? Nature is an amazing thing. Completely amazing. That even if you planted this bulb upside down, even if you planted the hyacinth bulb upside down, it still grows. It still grows. And it will send that shoot all the way around. It'll do a big curve, it'll do a big U-turn, and it'll start coming up. It might not be great, but it will flower. It's unbelievable. It's called gravity. It's called gravity. It's amazing. And it's called Mother Nature. It knows which way is up. Unlike us, if we get buried in a snowstorm or in an avalanche, we don't know which way up is or down. However, plants do. Incredible. How do they know that? The secrets of Mother Nature. Okay, so let's put these anemone corms away. I want to show you, this is another one, Ranunculus. Now, Ranunculus are different. Ranunculus look different. Ranunculus are also a corm, okay, and look at them. Oh, they look like spiders. Ew, here are Ranunculus. They're spectacular. I personally haven't had much success with Ranunculus, but I try every year. I really do. I don't think I talk to them enough, but anyway. Ranunculus are one bulb that is very interesting, where this is a corm again, but these are claws, okay? These are the claws of the Ranunculus. And a Ranunculus, you plant claws facing down, okay? Not that way. These are actually the dried up roots, which will then come alive and start sending out their new shoots. So you plant a Ranunculus, roots down, okay, just like that, and then it will come up. Plant your bulbs close together. Plant them in pots if you have limited space, or plant them right on the edge of your beds so that you can get to enjoy them. Don't plant them down there where you're not even going to see them. No, guys, this is an investment. So make sure you plant them close to where you can get to enjoy them. And it's not only the garden that bulbs are good for, they're great in containers. They are fantastic in containers. Now, these we planted a couple of weeks ago, and there's some bulbs that can also grow in water. Hi, really? Yeah, they can grow in water. These are hyacinths, which we put in some brocatoni pebbles. Brocatoni are a leaker clay. It's an expanded clay. that you can use, and all we're literally using the pebble for here is simply just to hold the roots in place. Now, these were planted a couple of weeks ago, so I'm going to do this, but basically you see I'm going to show you how to do this. Here is a container. We put the broccolini in, we pop the bulbs in, and do you see we only put the bulbs into what we call the shoulder. Okay, they don't go any deeper than that, but if I open this up, oh, look what's happening. Look at that. Beautiful, healthy white roots. Okay, stop shouting at me. I'm going to put you back. Okay, so you put it back. All you do is you just keep topping the water up. Do you see where that water level is? That water level is just at the base plate. You never let the water level go higher than that, or else the bulbs will rot. Okay, so it's really easy, guys. You put them in there, you put them in a well-lit spot, all right, remember, a well-lit spot, like on your kitchen counter, somewhere maybe on the patio, on the veranda where it's going to get some lovely early morning light. And it really is easy. You just get some, where did I put it? You're just going to get your clay, pop them in here. These are the brown Leaker clay pellets. You could also just use ordinary gravel, guys, but I quite like this. And you know what is amazing? When they start growing, you actually see the roots growing through here. It's fascinating. All right, we can take our beautiful hyacinth bulbs. We can even take Dutch irises, because Dutch irises also can grow in water. Yep, that's right. So it's Dutch irises, hyacinths, and daffodils you can grow in water. And remember, your daffodils, you can get those online, okay? And you just pop your Dutch irises in there, just like that. Okay? See, it's really easy. Really, really easy. You just pop them in like that. Okay. There we go. Nice and simple. And then you fill it up to just below the base plate, okay? Just below the base plate. And all you got to do is sit back and watch them grow. Nice and easy. So simple. And you can have just an absolute beautiful show of these bulbs. So remember, bulbs that you can grow in water for the winter season are your beautiful hyacinths, Dutch irises, daffodils, and you can also grow chinkery cheese. Yeah, they love it, and they are so heady. I mean, never mind having to worry about spritzing and using Vinolia or one of those other things that you've got to buy to improve the smell of the air. You just have a pot of bulbs, and they are insanely beautiful. Okay, so we can also grow them in pots, we've shown over here. Okay, so let's do that. Now, alrighty, what can go wrong? What can go wrong? Very little, guys. The things that can go wrong is that you've either planted them too deep, which means you didn't check on the instructions and you didn't water enough. The rest is foolproof. It really, really is foolproof. So let's think of this scenario. What if I've got a pot and I've planted bulbs? Do I have to stand and look at the dead soil, like at the brown soil, until they start shooting? No. Here's a beautiful tip that you can use when you have planted your bulbs, folks, and it is one thing that we do all the time at home. We've either planted them in between existing plants, or if we put them in containers, on top of the containers, we then plant these. Oh, and it's their time now. These are pansies. What's the Afrikaans word? Gesiggies. Oh, look at them. This is beautiful. And look at the difference in the size. So these are violas. Violas are their cousin. They are smaller, all right? And you can see the size of the pansy. So depending on what look and feel you're wanting, guys, they are available now in store. So get in there. You can pick up all different colors, whether it's yellow, whether it's purple you're wanting, whether it's pink, whatever your color scheme is, there will be a pansy or a viola for you. It's time to plant them now. So what I'm going to show you is we are going to go very, very quickly into a little DIY which shows you exactly how to do these things, and something that we kind of conjured up and worked out for ourselves. So guys, what is it? It's this beautiful sexy thing behind me here. It's a wonderful window box. Let's cut to Exo and let's have a look at what he's been up to.
Hey Tanya, 100%. It's a really simple DIY. It's a window box that's hanging with brackets and a chain. It makes a beautiful feature and it takes 2 of these standard boxes so you get to plant it up as you like. Over to you.
All right, guys, so there you have it. Exo made this beautiful window box. And guys, what it is, it's basically the outer casing. Okay, so you've got different options here. One, it could just sit on your table. It could be a feature on your center table, on your patio. It could also just sit outside a window, like on the floor. Okay, yeah, you get that, like underneath the window. Or what you could do is put some brackets and you could have it sitting just below the window. Or, like we did, you could get some chain, okay, and hook it up to hang wherever you want. So when you're tired of it, or when you no longer want it there and you want to move it along, you just unhook the chain and move it along. Now, if you want to see how Exo made up this window box, guys, check on the link on the YouTube link. If you're on Facebook, in the description below, you'll see there's a code. All you got to do is click on that. I think it's in blue, and it takes you to Exo's clip on how to make this beautiful window box. And it's so easy, guys. Couple of pieces of timber. They made it a bit fancy. It's got a bit of a Norwegian look going about it there, but I really like it. Of course, they left the planting up to me, and I'm not too worried about that, and thank goodness that they did, because the one day I did let those boys loose, and it was pitiful. So they stick to the DIY, I stick to the gardening, but they did this very smartly, and I want to show you why. Because the way that this works is simply, and I've planted one up already, is that this guy, 2 of these, which are your standard little window boxes that you pick up at your local builders, fit perfectly in there, 2 of them. Now, isn't that convenient? Yeah. So you can plant them up. When this one starts getting tired, you take these plants, pop them into the garden, or move them somewhere else, and then you replace it. What I've planted up here is just right for the season, guys. It is just right. We've got beautiful pelargoniums. These are the bush pelargoniums. They're also known as zonal. Now, please don't get it mixed up. Please don't get it mixed up, because they're different types of geraniums or pelargoniums. Now, this is called a zonal. It's a bush, which means it's going to grow in a small shrub. You get the ones that are called ivy leaf or trailing pelargoniums, and those obviously are the ones that trail. The way you find the difference is this is called zonal because of, look, do you see it's got that red mark around there? That's what you see on the leaves. Okay, and you can see the leaves are more rounded. The ivy leaf geranium or trailing geranium has an ivy-shaped leaf, one of those 3 little leaves. Those are more trailing. But it's perfect time for them now. Pelargoniums, lobelias, you will find them at your local builders, and they are beautiful. Whether it's just for filling in a little gap, a little pop of color, in a container, in the garden beds, they are magnificent. Folks, so I've planted this one up. I've used some little pansies in the center of the box, and I'm going to show you very, very quickly how to plant up one of these so that you too can end up with a beautiful window box just like that. Now, these containers are very interesting, very, very interesting, and the designers of them have made it super easy and super smart. So you could either use the container just like this. Yeah, I get it. It's not that bad. Yeah, but they've done something very smart with them. So have a look here. There's a little area there where you can obviously pop your thumb in, okay? And if we pull it, yeah, it's going to make a bit of a noise, but just give it a yank. Aha! Look at that. This is a well. Okay. So you see what happens. You can use this as it is. Do you see it just clicks in there? And then it's got a little drip tray, which means that you can have it just like this on a patio table, on your veranda, anywhere. When you water it, unless you overfill it, of course, what will happen is the water will get stored in the drip tray, which is here. If you don't want the drip tray, you simply just remove it, okay? And as you water, then the water will freely flow out through the base, through those holes over there. Okay, nice and easy. Man, these guys have made things so simple, and then to put it back, nice and easy, just there we go, and a good whack and it's in place. Okay, so let's get planting, guys. Let's show you how to get it right. And of course, we're going to plant up some beautiful bulbs with it. We're going to hide the bulbs in here. So when your pelargoniums are busy bushing, your pansies are doing their thing, man, all of a sudden, oh, I got another surprise for you. Up comes the bulbs. Okay, so guys, what we're needing is some good potting soil. Now, we got a bag of potting soil from our local builders. This is a premium potting soil. It is brilliant. All right, we don't need much. I've got it in my trusted trug over here. What I am going to add in is 1 or 2 handfuls of fruit and flower. Now, I'm adding that in because basically I am now adding nutrition into my growing medium. So think about it. When the roots are finding their way, they're in this little window box, they're going to come across the right nutrition that's needed. Okay, very important. So 2 handfuls of this. It's an organic fertilizer. It will never, ever burn your plants. Never, ever burn, which is great. And also good for the environment. It's a chicken-based fertilizer, and it works incredibly well. So what we do is we give this a good mix. All right. Give it a good mix. And guys, whenever you're doing any container gardening, please add 1 or 2 handfuls of this, or else you can use Atlantic BioOcean as well. So there we have it. At the base of this, what I do want to add in, because, and this is, some people skip this, but please don't. Do add in a layer of gravel, okay? It's important to do this. Why? Because if you left those little holes open and you just put the potting soil in there, the potting soil will run through those holes because the potting soil is fine. Do you see how fine it is? And then whenever you pick up the pot, when you're going to be moving it around, there's going to be little Hansel and Gretel trails of potting soil left behind. No, we don't want that. No, that's why you put the gravel in there. Okay, so put the gravel in there, and then I'm going to add a little layer of my beautifully mixed, enriched potting soil. Okay, so I'm going with a bit of a yin and a yang theme here. We know the pelargoniums are super, super hot at the moment. And I'm going to also show you quickly how to look after them. So let's take a look at this guy over here. Number 1, always look out for yellowing leaves at the base of your pelargonium. And all I want you to do is run your finger along it till it gets to the actual stem of the plant and just break it off. Nice and easy, okay? You don't need to worry about snipping these because they're quite brittle. They break off very easily and they snap off very easily. It is important with pelargoniums that they do get food, because in order to produce all these wonderful flowers, you need the food. I'm going to show you one key element on how to keep them flowering, and it's this. Now, let's pretend that this guy has gone over, okay? He's finished flowering, and there's the stalk left here. Folks, please, and I'm going to do this to show you what you must do, and it's going to be the same with the violas and pansies. I want you to follow that stalk all the way down, just with your hand, your thumb and your forefinger, to where it joins the plant, and then just, there we go, snap it off. Easy peasy, okay? That you put on the compost heap, because what you've done now is you've removed the stalk where all the energy was still going into the stalk. No, we don't want that. We want the energy to go into a new flower. Okay, right. When you're taking it out the pot, like that, squeeze, 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 out she comes. Ooh, look at that, good roots, looking fantastic. We tease it a little bit at the base, so we're opening up these roots nicely. Look at that, we've opened them up now. We haven't pulled them off, no, we've just teased it and opened it up so that they now know that they can start spreading, because by doing that, you're almost telling the plant, go, find, get those roots out there, go and look for more nutrition. Okay, so I'm going to pop one of those little guys in there, and here's a perfect example. Come in here and have a look. You'll get a really good view of this. There's a stalk. It's broken off. If we leave that there, unnecessary energy is going into that over there. We don't want that, so you grab it with your thumb and your forefinger, and you just do that, and off it comes. Okay, nice and easy. Okay, right. Let's get this baby out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Same thing. Off comes the pot. Give it a little tease. Give it a little tease. There we go. And let's pop this baby in right over here. Oh, you are going to look so gorgeous. Okay, once they're in, what you need to do is take a bit of your soil and then just fill in these little gaps. So hold the plant back gently. Take the plant, pull it back gently, okay? And then pop in some of your mixture there. Take the back end of your trowel and you just firm it in, okay? Don't do this, guys. Don't do this. Don't. This is like one of those things, you don't do this at home, okay? Do not. Because if you try and get this in here, I guarantee you the soil is going to fall on top of the plants and it's going to damage them and snap them. Please don't do that. That's why we say, get yourselves a trug and do it this way. So hold the plant back gently. You know, and the only reason why some of us bought the plant is because it had flowers, you know. And now, oh my goodness, and now, well, we've broken the flower off. I mean, I may as well slit my wrists. Okay, right. Anyway, here we go. Now we're going to fill in between. Once we've put our bigger plants in, we're simply going to just fill in between with some of our beautiful potting soil mixture. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Okay, there we go. That's about the right height that I'm looking for. Notice we're not filling it all the way to the top. I'm going to firm it down gently. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in these beautiful pansies. Remember, when you're taking a pansy out of a tray, guys, you don't grab it and pull it like that. Nobody likes being pulled by their ears. No, nobody does. So at the bottom of the tray, if you just do that, there's a little place there actually where you put your finger and you just do that. Look what's happening. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. It's popping out. Can you see that? There we go. You see it's popping out. There the plant's popping out. Take it. Okay. Lean it over. Out comes the little pansy. Now, what you can do here is gently tease these open if the roots are very matted, but very gently. Tease them open. I'm going to plant this little baby in here. You're going to be so cute. Okay. Lovely. Let's get another one out. And I can very easily put 4 in here. And they're going to give me just loads of color. Now, here's a perfect example. Come in and have a look here. The same as what we did to the geranium. This flower is now gone over. Okay, it's now going to start making seed. We're not interested in seed, guys. We want lots of flowers. Thumb, forefinger, follow it all the way down to where it joins the plant and just nip it off. There we go. That's called deadheading. Very important. Pop this little baby in here. 4 can go in here quite happily. Let's tease that one a little bit. All right. Nice and easy. Okay, how are we looking? A little bit of soil around there. All we do now is we just fill it up a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Fill it in a bit more. Get in between those gaps. And now we pop our bulbs in between. Now we pop our bulbs in between. And I'm going to use these beautiful Dutch irises that I opened earlier. So all I do, take a handful. Oh man, this is going to be glorious when it flowers. And all you do is you just push the bulbs in between. Pop them in between. Remember, the tighter the bulbs are, the better the look is going to be because they'll be nice and compact. Pop them all in between there. They will then shoot through, have this yellow, purple mass on top underneath this lovely white field of geraniums and violas. And then, guys, all we do is we take this baby and we just pop him in here. And there you have it. Nice and easy. A beautiful window box, guys. And could it be any simpler? I mean, isn't that too cute? I really like that. So we filled up the little gaps. We've got the yin and yang, violas, pansies, geraniums, guys. That is the look and feel of winter. Winter does not need to be drab. Remember, all of these are available at your local builders now. They're in season. Plus your bulbs, you can get them online or in store. Get them, and when you've got them, plant them. Don't forget about them like the packets of seeds. Very important. Guys, remember to visit the blog on the website because there are loads of videos, of gardening articles, of advice that you can get on the Builder's website. Also remember that we will answer all of your questions a little bit later after the show's ended. And if you've got any more, please just do send them through. Most importantly, have a very safe, blessed week ahead. Take care of you and yours. And always, God bless you all and happy gardening.